Big Three NBA podcast is powered by PrizePicks.
Hey everyone, welcome into another playoff edition of the Big Three NBA podcast. Sherrod Blakely, Gary Washburn. I'm Kwani, Lunis. Right into it. Game one. Wait, do we want to talk about, there's the good and then there's the bad. The good is you just showed me a picture of Gary.
Gary, I wasn't gonna put Gary's business.
I know, but it's a fly suit. It's a fly suit.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get Ahmed to post that when we show this to the people,
so they can understand.
Yeah, just so they understand. Gary Washburn and the legend, the man, the
Gary
myth,
Washburn and
Cedric Maxwell had on very similar colored suits, and I thought it was kind of cool, so I took a picture of it. But when y'all see the picture, you can see that Mr. Washburn was not the least bit enthused about my cinematography and capturing that moment.
Yeah, your photo could have been a little better, to be honest, but it's okay.
I can only work with what I gotta work with. I mean, there's only so much I can do.
I can't.
I mean, Jim and I can only do so much with the camera. Jim and I can only do so much in terms of making it work. So I'm just saying.
I can't. That's fair. So, okay, we'll get into the loss. I know people.
That was a good part. Now, what's the bad, Kwani? What's the bad?
The bad is the loss. The game, a loss against the Knicks, overtime, 108-105. Second round of the playoffs, of course. Jalen Brunson, 29 points for New York. OG Anunoby, 29 points for the Knicks. And Tatum, 23 and 16. Porzingis gets called out early with a non-COVID illness, which is now the new terminology in the NBA when it's not COVID. Sam Hauser, ankle status, still unclear for game two. A lot happened in that game, but what stood out to both of you the most?
The fact that, and Gary is going to talk a little bit more about this later. I say that only because Gary asked a really good question to Joe Mazzulla, and I want him to kind of dive into that. But the Celtics, I mean, it's like they forgot that the blueprint to win isn't always the blueprint that you want to go with. They want to be a three-point shooting team. It is clearly a significant part of who they are, but there's just some games where that's just not going to get it done. I mean, some folks like chicken every day, but sometimes you got to eat that fish. Sometimes that fish is what you need to be munching on. And the Celtics, they wanted to win this game on their terms as opposed to just winning the game, period. They wanted to win the game in a three-point knockdown shootout type of game, and it just wasn't happening. And they had so many opportunities to pivot and do other things that they had the ability to do at a high level, and they were just too damn stubborn to do that. This was one of the losses that when they go back and they look at the film, and they're going to think like, damn, why did we do this? Why did we do that? Why did we just stick with what was working here? And there's a lot of what if going on in that game. But the good news for the Celtics is that despite how poorly they played in so many facets of the game, it was still there's the win. And if you look at their two losses in the playoffs this year, that's been the moral of the story, that they have played really some of the worst basketball of the season in both of those games. And yet they were with a chance to win it late in the final minute or two. So that's the silver lining for the Celtics. It's simply a matter of just playing the game the way you know how to play and just focus on winning as opposed to winning on the terms that you think you should be winning on.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those throwback games. What I mean by that is very reminiscent of the 23 season, and a lot of times some of those losses in that Miami series where they messed around with the game. They got up 75-55, and I asked Joe Mazzulla today because to me, right after they took that lead is when the game changed. The game changed quickly, and they were up 20. Everything was good. Celebration, good times. Come on. Cool. Shout out to Cool in the gang.
Shout out to Cool. and Gary, you know where they're from, right? Jersey, baby. Jersey.
Anyway.
I did not know that. That is
Jersey, baby.
Yeah.
That's your Black History fact for the day, Gary. You're welcome.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Anyway, everything was good, but they immediately let go of the rope. And there was a couple of key sequences, and right after they took the 75-55 lead, they let OG Anunoby wide open for 2 threes that made it 20-14. And when you let a team immediately cut a third into a 20-point lead, 14 points is not a big lead in the NBA. That's 3 to 4 possessions. That's 5 possessions. That's a couple of like turnovers and a couple of threes, and suddenly it's a 4-point game. And they let Anunoby, who was hot, get going from 3, 2 wide open looks, bad defense, especially Jaylen Brown fell asleep on a couple of those possessions, and suddenly it was 75-61. And I think Brunson hit, it was all of a sudden 75-64, and you're like, wait a minute, this is suddenly 11-point game, because you think if they hold on and get to the fourth quarter and they're up 18, the Knicks aren't going to catch them. Mm-hmm. But they had to rally in the third quarter. Like, they had to come back immediately. And the Celtics let them, as our friend Dennis Green said, the late Dennis Green, let them off the hook. And they let New York, they slipped on defense. Then they started falling in love with a three-point shot. 19 of their 20 shots in the third quarter were three-pointers.
I've never seen anything like that.
That's egregious. That's egregious. And they hit 7, I believe. They hit 7 of those, but that's more missed shots. That's more long rebounds, leading to fast break points, because the Knicks and Josh Hart, who I thought was one of the key players in the game besides Anunoby, and obviously Brunson is money. That dude's a killer. But I thought Josh Hart get a lot of those offensive rebounds and keeping the ball alive, and also pushing the ball after defensive rebounds and getting New York some runouts was key to their comeback. And the Celtics just, hey, we'll take a 3. We'll take a 3. Derek White, 16 of his 18 shots, 3-pointers. Jason Tatum, 15 of his 23 shots, 3-pointers. Jaylen Brown started out 0 for 8 before hitting 1, and he was 1 for 10. Like, no, stop it, man. Get the ball to the paint. Slow down the game. Quit trying to play hero ball. Quit trying to fill up the stat sheets and boost your stats and make the crowd happy. Make the crowd happy by winning the damn game. Don't make the crowd happy by trying to blow them out by 40. That worked in the opening night when you couldn't miss. That was not last night. They were 15 for 60, 45 missed three-pointers. That's terrible. And the Knicks made more three-pointers and took 23 fewer. So that just shows you. And that's how you lose games, and that's how you now gave the Knicks more momentum. And now the Celtics are going to game 2 like, we really got to win this because we don't want to go to New York down 0-2.
No.
Okay, so this is a must-win for the Celtics, because now the Knicks have all the momentum. They're feeling good about themselves. Stephen A is happy. Everybody's going, all the New Yorkers are celebrating and they're partying because they thought they were going to get blown out in this series too. And when they're down 75-55, they think, man, this is exactly how we thought it was going to happen. And the Celtics let them off the hook. And that's on coaching. That's on the lack of focus from the veterans. There's a veteran team. There's no damn way they should have lost that lead. Like, that was a bad loss, a bad performance. And then just, we'll just take a 3. Oh, I'm open. I'll just take a 3. Go to the rim. Karl-Anthony Towns and Brunson both have 4 fouls. They took 20 free throws in the first half, 6 in the second half in overtime. And then Jason, I love him, but he's still trying to prove that he's a good 3-point shooter. You're not, Jason, at this point. Maybe in the offseason with some more work or more work on your mechanics or your release point, all that, save that for the offseason. If you are not quite there, then go to the 15 threes is too much. If you're going to make 4, if you're going to make 10, take them. If you're going to make 7, take them. If you're going to do Steph, you're going to make 7 or 8 of them. You're going to make them and turn around and then start doing the bankhead bounce and they going in. Do it. But if you are going 4 for 15 and you only take 8 2-point shots, that's how you lose games. And Derek White, love Derek White, great shooter, but he was 5 for 16 from 3. He missed a bunch of open. Obviously, the Knicks, he's going to get open looks. And the Knicks had to hope he missed, and he did. So, to me, a bad loss because the Celtics messed off the game. It was their fault. They look in the mirror. The Knicks played solid. But the Knicks missed 14 free throws. A lot of those, 7 of those by Mitchell Robinson. So, but like they missed. Knicks didn't play a great game either. They played well enough down the stretch, and then Bridges and Anunoby, two people we talked about in the last podcast, need to step up. Both stepped up with plays. So the Celtics had to look in their mirror, do some soul searching to figure out what team do we want to be. You want to be the pretty winning team, or we want to be the team that gets to the chip?
Thanks.
To your point, then, sounds like I know the answer, but want to hear it. Pick and roll. This result, was it the Celtics playing poorly or the Knicks playing well?
What do you think, Gary?
Oh, it's the Celtics playing poorly, messing off the game. You don't blow a 20-point lead in the third quarter. It happens. Like that happens, but Cleveland lost their first round game. So did Oklahoma City in a shocker. They kind of blew it. They were up by 7 with 2.5 left. So they're saying the same thing in Oklahoma. They're saying the same thing in Cleveland. How the hell we lose this game? We should have played better. So it's not like the Celtics are like, oh my God, they're done. No, but you make it eat. You make this. The previous teams, the Ime teams, some of the Brad teams made things harder on themselves than it had to be, and that's what happened. Game 1, Celtics total fault. Taking too many damn threes. And if they're going in, keep going. If they're not, you don't keep doing it until it works. If the team is cut a 20-point lead to 11 in 3 to 4 possessions, if you still holding them back and you still 18, 19 points up, you might be able to, test some things. But when Anunoby hit those 2 threes to cut it to 14, you were like, uh-oh, because this is very reminiscent of the game a couple of months ago at the Garden where the Celtics blew a 22-point lead. I think the Knicks cut it to 4, and then the Celtics fought back and ended up winning the game. But to me, I just thought the key was when they basically handed the ball back, blew it. I'm looking at it. It was 75-55, Anunoby, 2 threes, Mitchell Robinson a free throw. They foul Mitch. He misses 1. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Brunson gets going, and it's, oh snap, it's 75-64. Jason comes back with a 3. Then Brunson hits. Then Jason comes back with another 3. 81-66. Okay, you're thinking, okay, they're going to hold them off. But it just avalanche. Then Josh Hart running layup. I'm sorry reading this off. Then Anunoby. Then Brunson got hot. Then Anunoby again. And then suddenly it's a 6-point game because you done messed around with the game. All these 3-pointers. Hauser missed 3. Tatum missed 3. Pritchard turnover. Al missed 3. Horford, what I'm saying? Like, stop it. Get the ball to the rim. Get to the free throw line. Celtics fall.
Yeah. I mean, it's there there's no way getting around it. I mean, the Celtics, they played with their food and they choked on it. It's that cut and dry. You don't, no matter how dominant you were over the Knicks in the regular season, and they were, the average margin of victory was like 16 points and some change in the 4 wins over New York. But you got to remember that the New York Knicks, one, they weren't whole at that time because Mitchell Robinson, I think, missed at least 2, maybe 3 of those games. And 2, everything is different in the playoffs. What you did in the regular season means very little to what's happening in the playoffs because there's a different level of urgency that teams play with. There's a different level of focus and intensity and physicality that teams bring to the table when they get to this stage of the season. And the Celtics have shown the ability to not only understand that, but embrace that reality of the playoffs. And they did not in game 1. They treated game 1 as if it was 1 of 82. And you can't do that. You just can't do that this time of year, especially when you're talking about winning a championship. And again, when you look at the other side of the bracket and you look at that Cleveland, Indiana series, Indiana, I watched that. Indiana just played better. I didn't think Cleveland did a lot of things that, and remember, Indiana had beat them. I believe they won 3 out of 4 games.
Yeah,
but really, one of the games was just kind of a throwaway, but they won 2 out of the 3 where both teams were trying to play and win. So that one really isn't that big a shot because Indiana, they figured some things out, and they're coached by Rick Carlisle, and Gary knows it. Rick's my guy. Rick is one of the best coaches in the game. That's my dude. So them winning is not.
Is he your guy, Sherrod?
That's my dude.
Okay.
That's my dude.
I just want to triple check.
Wait, but did you know that's his guy?
I did not know that, Kwani. It's his guy.
Sure.
4 times, Sherrod.
That's my guy. You and the Hall of Famer with the same suit on. Yeah, Blues Brothers.
Oh my gosh.
You and Cedric, Blues Brothers.
It looks like kind of fly Blue Brothers. All right, so that being said, Gary, you had a conversation with Mazzulla about this. We were talking about coaching off the top. Recap for our listeners what exactly your question was and how he responded.
Well, he said that they got good looks. And for the most part, the Celtics got good 3-point looks. But they took too many of them because they weren't going in. So you miss, they score, you miss again. It's still empty possession. You can keep saying we got good shots. If you miss them, then they ain't that damn good.
That's real.
Okay?
Way to go, Cal.
They ain't that good. If they ain't going in, they ain't good.
If they don't go in, it's not good. Okay, thank you.
It ain't a good shot. It ain't going in the damn basket. So Joe said that he was comfortable. He said 10 or 11 or 12 maybe possessions that he could take back. That's like, he said that's kind of how it is in every game. And I understand that. I mean, that's his philosophy. But the offense was not humming. It was too predictable. And Joe said, we could have probably mixed it up a little bit more, but he's not going to go away against his philosophy. But the Celtics, sometimes they follow Joe to the T and follow his word, and they fall in love with the shot. Because sometimes when it's a half-court game, you got to do more work. Let's just be honest. Sometimes the Celtics get lazy offensively because they can hit threes. When you got to move the ball around, you got to cut, you got to screen, you got to make contact. That's hard work every possession to get yourself a great shot. And so sometimes the Celtics get lazy and take a good shot, or what they think is a good shot, which is Derek White or Tatum, sometimes Brown. But some dudes got to be real with themselves. And that's the thing. I think, is Joe going to have these guys be real with themselves? Jalen is not having a good 3-point shooting year, and neither is Jason. Why is Jalen taking 10 threes in a game? He's a 31% 3-point shooter. Like, take the ball to the rack. You have improved. You have worked your ass off on your free throw shooting to where now you are an 84% free throw shooter in playoffs. Get to the rim, get fouled, get to the line. That's how you score. Now, if you're on one of them heaters, then have at it. He took a 3 6 seconds into the game. Remember the tip? Hey, the Celtics got the ball. Running down. There's Jalen, 28-footer. What? Jalen, like, what are you doing? The Celtics don't score, and I think Jalen took another one. It's like, Jalen, quit messing around with early possessions. I get it. You're trying to get yourself going. Like, you're trying to do, like, Celtics don't need to go up 3-0 that badly. Work the offense. Get a good shot. Draw a foul in the first possession. Get to the free throw line. Put in the work offensively. And I don't think the Celtics put in the work offensively in game one. They were lazy because it's easy to come down and just launch a 3 and then run back on D if you do run back on D. This team got lazy and complacent. And we said great players, but not all of them should be launching 10 threes. Jason takes 10 threes a game. He took 15 in game one. Like, he shouldn't be taking that many. He's not that good of a shooter. There's like Sherrod Kwani. We should have like a scale, right? So at the top of the scale would be like Steph. And it'd be like, Steph, you can take as many threes per game as you want to take. No limit. The rest of us, we got a limit.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can't buy, you can't, it's not unlimited, right?
Yeah, your money don't spend the way other folks' money spend.
So the worse 3-point shooter you are, the fewer you should be taking. That's common sense. As 3 is more than 2, the worst shooter you are, the lower you should be taking, amount of threes you should be taking. Should be an NBA rule.
Gary dropping these cookies on the bottom shelf knowledge.
I'm just saying.
Now understand that 3 is more than 2.
Exactly.
Big math.
Three is more than I'm dropping knowledge. I'm dropping facts.
Hey,
So
Gary put them cookies on the bottom shelf for these kids to pick up. I see you, Gary.
So I'm looking at the 3-point percentage. Jaylen Brown this year, 32.4. Not good. Okay. I mean, Derek, 38%, very good. Drew, Kristaps at 41. Pritchard, always at 40.7%. Horford had a solid year. Jason and Jaylen both struggled. So why are they combining for 25 threes? Like, no, too much, too mucho. Okay, for our friends, not too much. Grande, like too many damn threes. Too many damn threes. They took 97 shots. 25 of them were threes. So more than a quarter of your shots were threes from Jason or Jaylen.
Yeah.
I mean, no. And how many they miss? Make 5. They were Cinco. Exactly. To your friends.
It's 5. It's a testing machine.
5 for 25 from combined 3. So 25% of your shots were by 3-pointers from 2 of your players, and they made 5 of them. That's offensive. That's terrible. So they've got to adjust some things. You can shoot 43s in a game, even 50. But if you're not making them, stop freaking shooting them. And that's it. They should be a scale. Steph, unlimited. Some dudes, other 3-point shooters get 10. You can take 10 a game. Thank you. The rest, no. 5. Some people should get 2. Some people shouldn't get none. You get your tickets aren't good here.
Damn.
You got to earn more equity. So
you can't afford to live in this neighborhood.
No. So to me,
this 3-point hood, this ain't for you.
This is not your neighborhood.
Hey, listen, the streets ain't for everyone, man. These 3-point streets ain't for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Some people gotta live in the hood.
Some people gotta live in a 2-point community.
Facts, man.
Stop it. And that's what lost in this game. And not that it's gonna happen 3 more times, but now you done put pressure on yourself. Now you got to go out there and win game 2. And Joe's got to make some changes too. If it's pulling guys, if it's changing lineups, if it's calling a timeout, so listen, fellas, like we wasting too many damn possessions here. We're letting them back in the game because New York was eventually. I talked to our friend James Edwards before the game, and I said the Knicks have a chance. He said, "Are you sure the Celtics are going to let the Knicks get close enough to where Brunson can make an impact?" And what happened? They let the Knicks get close enough to where Brunson made an impact, and Brunson, because what happened with 91-91, and Brunson hits a pair of threes right in front of the Celtics bench, and suddenly the Celtics have lost all control.
Yeah, this was not one of their shining moments. That's for sure. They the big thing with the Celtics right now, I think, is that they did enough to where the antennas are up that they got to do better, but not enough to where you feel as though they've got to reinvent the wheel. It really does come down to them just simply playing to win and making that the only thing that you care about. You're not playing to knock down threes. You're not playing to win by 30. You're not playing to do anything other than have one more point than the other team. And when they start playing with that type of urgency, then that's when they blow teams out, because that's when they lock in. That was, to me, the disappointing part about this, was that they simply didn't lock in the way that you're supposed to this time of year. I mean, think about this, man. You've already been to the mountaintop, and you had to start from scratch at the beginning of the season. You handled your business. You made sure your guys were healthy enough throughout the season. Didn't overwork anyone. No one was overtaxed. You take out a tough defensive-minded team in Orlando in 5 games, and you're playing a team now that, in some respects, there's certainly some similarities, but overall, this should be another team that you should not have much trouble with. And you have given them life. You have given them confidence. They actually forget about competing. They think they can win the series now. And they point to the fact that we went in your crib, put our dirty shoes up on your counter, on your table, and made ourselves comfortable. And we came out with a win. And that's all the New York Knicks wanted to do. in these first 2 games is get one. That's all they want to do, and they got that. And so there is a different kind of pressure on Boston. But the one thing about the Celtics is this: they're the best road team in the NBA. So for them, the games in Madison Square Garden, I don't think are going to be nearly as problematic as getting Game 2, because Game 2 they should be getting, but you have to wonder, are they going to struggle with this different kind of pressure? Because let's be honest, they haven't had to play a game of this type of magnitude in a couple years. They weren't challenged at all last year. And the year before that, they had some moments like this, but this is something relatively new for this championship crew. Are they going to rise to the occasion, or are they going to get ran out of the building? That's what we really need to find out going forward. Because, again, there were a lot of things that the Celtics, I thought, really did that they like to do, but they just couldn't seal the deal. And again, that's more on them than I think with anything the Knicks did. Before we go any further, shout out to our good friends at Prize Picks. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash today. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports. So combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball and other sports as well. And with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, which is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Again, it's the best place to win cash while watching your favorite players play. How do you get in? Real simple. You download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, you download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Thank you. All right, so Kristaps Porzingis, we talked about him off the top as well. Where's the panic meter for you two on his status? Because at this point, it has been every game is up for grabs.
Mine is high. It's high because of the, not so much because I don't think he's going to play, but the fact is I don't have a sense of what he's going to be able to do or not do. And to me, that's worse. That's worse than not knowing. Because if he's not going to be around, then you can plan accordingly. It just he ain't going to be here. And if he's going to be right back, then you're like, okay, well, you know what happened? That's in the past. We're going to keep it moving. But there seems to be this level of just unawareness as to what he is going to be able to do or not do, and that's a problem. This time of year, you want to be a creature of habit. You want to be able to just know, who do I got to work with, who do I don't have to work with. That's what to me, it doesn't matter as much as it might in the regular season. You need to just know. I mean, and the Celtics, the way that they're built, they're the kind of team that they can withstand 1 or 2 core guys out. I mean, heck, they won the first round series without Jrue Holiday, who's arguably their best on-ball defender. But it's clear in this series that they're going to need Porzingis to win it. They're going to need him to win it. And he doesn't have to put up big numbers. He simply has to be a presence. I mean, he's that guy that when he's on the floor, at some point, with all the switching that the Knicks do, at some point he's going to be matched up against a guy like Josh Hart or Brunson or Bridges, someone who he can literally just catch and shoot right over the top of him. And not having him out there, you lose that element. Luke Cornett, I thought, did some good things when he was out there, but Luke ain't KP. Luke has done some good things, but he's damn sure not Kristaps Porzingis. And that's the problem. The Celtics don't know exactly what Kristaps Porzingis is to this series. And again, and there's other guys who are dealing with issues. Sam Hauser, we're not really sure exactly how his situation is going to turn out. But he was out of rotation in Game 1. I don't think he played in the first quarter or first half, something like that. But his minutes were kind of funky to begin with. But Porzingis, you're going to need him to win this series. You absolutely going to need him to do that.
Yeah, I'm concerned about Porzingis because now it seems like the team can't really rely on him at this point. And obviously yesterday he played, early he played the first half, no points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 for 4 from the field. So he did not score. Then suddenly he's disappeared and he comes out late in the halftime break, about 3 minutes left on the clock before the second half starts. He takes some shots, then he runs right back into the locker room, and that's it. And suddenly he's got an illness. And whatever this illness is, and apparently it's related to what he had a couple of months ago or several weeks ago when he missed about 2 weeks. He's got to get this cured, or they've got to learn how to treat it, because you just can't have him ducking out of games. And I'm not saying it was not real, but I'm talking about just you got to have him. You got to have him play real game. You got to have him healthy enough to play a full game. And
have you two ever seen anything like this before, where an illness was described? But and I understand that there is privacy, HIPAA, and all of that, but generally the NBA has been very transparent in the past, so it makes me feel as though maybe it's more serious.
This is weird. I mean, it's unusual from the standpoint of they can't put a label on it. I mean, like when players have like non-COVID illness, it's usually a very short-term thing, which is why they want to make sure that you understand that it's a non-COVID related illness. But this, the fact that it has lingered, the fact that he looks like there may have been some type of remission of some sort with this thing. There's something going on with him health-wise that they're not being as candid as they can be about. And it sounds like whatever he's dealing with is something that there isn't like a special pill or an elixir or something that he could take that can just absolutely get it under control. It sounds like it's a far more intricate and complicated illness that he's dealing with. And again, none of us know what that is. But I do know this. If this illness continues to limit his availability, he's going to have plenty of time to get over this illness, because he ain't going to have no damn games to play. They're going to get bounced. They're going to need him to play through whatever it is he's dealing with. The Celtics medical staff has to figure out, how can we get him to the point where he can be functional out there and not do any more harm to himself by being out there. And if that can't happen, then don't play him. If you think that he could do more harm to himself being out there, you keep his ass on the bench. But if you're going to do that, speak on it. Own that reality. Own that as the reality that he might be dealing with. Right now, this whole, we're going to take it one day at a time and we're going to see what we can do. And he gets out there and plays a little bit, and then he doesn't play a whole lot of it. And then he comes out there to shoot around for a couple minutes, and you're thinking, okay, he's ready to roll. And then he's, he runs back like he's, he heads back to the locker room and everything, and you don't see him. This is not normal. This is so not normal. And I think the Celtics, they need to figure out, they need to get off the fence with this. They need to figure out what's going on with him. And if you can't figure out what's going on with him, sit him down, because he deserves that. I would much rather see him healthy sitting this game out than being yo-yoed in and out of the lineup, because it makes it hard for him.
Yeah, because he wants to play, but that's the
and reality. His teammates, it's like his teammates, they can't be nearly as confident in his ability to help them because they don't know. They just don't know if he's physically able to do what they need him to do.
Yeah, it's a confusing situation. Very confusing. We still don't know. He's listed as probable for game 2, so that's a good sign. And Hauser's listed as doubtful. Well, I don't think Hauser brought much to the table, and he has not brought much to the table in the playoffs. I think he's been one of the more disappointing players so far in the postseason. He got 2 wide open looks last night, and he airballed one and missed the other. And if you're Hauser, you're not in the game for your defense. You're in your game for the shot making. And if you can't make shots, and he had a bad foul on Anunoby, attempted a 3. That's the play he sprained his ankle on. So his brief 4 minutes, he was a -7 and with a foul and 2 missed threes. So not great minutes for Hauser. And the Celtics are going to have to find somebody else to step up. If it's Pritchard playing more, he played 24 minutes last night. If you're going to pull out Torrey Craig off the mothballs, and like Sherrod said, with Porzingis, just make sure he's healthy. And he's got to make a difference out there too. And he's struggled throughout the playoffs. He's not had a good playoff session. And even though the Celtics are 5-2, he hasn't been good at all. And the Celtics are going to need to figure out what the hell's going on with him and how they can unlock him. Because right now it's not looking. It's his production. I'm looking here, 32% from the field and 11% from the 3-point line. I mean, that's terrible. Those are Charles Barkley terrible numbers, and he's got to be better. 2 for 17 from the 3-point line, 17 for 41 on twos, and a lot of those twos are layups or mid-range jumpers. And he's missed 8 free throws. So not bringing a whole lot to the table here. So if they can unlock Porzingis, that probably makes a difference in this series, but we'll see if that happens.
When we were previewing this series, we talked about the matchup of Cat versus KP, and unfortunately, by default, it seems Cat wins game 1 for when it comes to that matchup. But what do you both think, if he does play in game 2, KP needs to do to really just get the ball going for himself?
What you got, Gary?
I mean, he's just got to be aggressive, and he's got to quit waiting for contact. I think he's doing the whole he's fouling me. Like, just go up through contact, score through contact. If you get the call, you get the call. If you don't, at least you made the damn shot. But quit looking for contact and letting contact impact your release so you're missing the shot. There was just a couple of plays in the first half where he was at the rim and he went up for the layup. He missed it. He's complaining. They're going to let him grab it. Like, they're going to let him grab his jersey, right? He's 7'3", like Brunson, whoever's guarding him in the post is going to take a nice fistful of his jersey like this and just pull at it. And they're not going to call that, right? They're going to call contact. So he can't get all disheveled when they're grabbing his jersey or they're being a little bit rough or physical with him. He's got to play through the contact, and he's got to even up this matchup. Towns was not very good. He got into foul trouble, but he had 13 boards and he made a difference. Now, obviously, what happens if Porzingis plays the second half? Do the Celtics win? Probably. But then again, 2 for 17 from the 3-point line. Maybe he joins in on the 3-point party and misses all his shots too. Who knows? But they've got to get more production out of him. Get to the free throw line. Hit that little short jumper and quit foul hunting. Quit looking for the contact. And then once it doesn't go down, you start complaining. Like, you're not going to get the calls. So live with it and move on and try to hit that shot and lock in mentally and hit those short jumpers, as opposed to like being distracted by the contact and then you miss them.
Facts.
All right,
go ahead, Kwani. You got it. Go ahead.
More thoughts? Okay. Before we move on, for those who are listening, quick pause. We want to ask you to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review. And for those who are watching the show on CLNS's YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the Celtics All Access YouTube channel, where you can find our show and a lot of other great Celtics content. Also, please be sure to turn on the notifications so you know the instant a new video drops. Very important, especially during this time of the year. And while you're at it as well, please support our sponsors like Prize Picks and Game Time, which allow us to keep content coming to you free of charge. Let's talk about the Jays really quickly before we wrap up. We talked about them off the top as well, but overall, what do you both want to see more from each of them? And as of now, who do you think has the mismatch versus the Knicks?
I think they both, in many respects, have a mismatch. But what I want to see from both of them is I want to see them execute their basketball IQ better. They're smart players, and some of the things they are doing out there, it's just not smart basketball. When you are 6'8", 6'9", the way Tatum is, and you got you got Jalen Brunson guarding you, you should not be shooting step back threes. When you've got OG Anunoby, who's trying to be as physical as hell with you, you should be trying to take him off the dribble. And if you're worried about guys in the paint, you know what? F it. This is the time where you need to be aggressive. You need to set the tone with a certain level of offensive physicality, and both Jalen and Jason have the ability to do that. I'm more concerned about Jalen in that regard because I know health-wise he's not quite where he's accustomed to being. And so for him to get to that point where he can be an impact player, it's not necessarily going to be what he does from an athleticism point. It's going to be what he does from an intelligence basketball IQ standpoint. And that's I think that is one of Jalen's super strengths and superpowers. And he needs to flex that in this moment, because physically it's pretty clear that he is not Jaylen Brown. He's not, Jalen, when I think of Jaylen Brown playing in a game, one of the first thoughts that come to mind is body bags, because Jalen is going to dunk on somebody and just put them in a body, just kill them at the rim. That's what he does. He's exceptional in that regard. And we're not seeing anything remotely close to that. I think Gary touched on, a layup attempt that he had last game going to the basket that he missed badly. That shouldn't have been a layup attempt. That should have been a dunk attempt. Because that's the power, that's the explosion, that's the dynamic aspect of his game that we're just not seeing now. He's not playing bad. He's just not playing at the level or with the type of intensity and aggressiveness that we're used to seeing. And similar to Tatum, 3-point shots, and we've seen this time and time again, more times than not, it's a shot that you settle for, not necessarily a shot that you're working hard to get. Tatum needs to go dig in his bag and go get those shot attempts going to the rim, finishing at the rim, shooting the mid-range jumper if they're not allowing you to get as deep as you want to. But you have to switch it up and give the game more than just 3-point chucks, because clearly that ain't going to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think Jason is the one I'm focused on. Jason has to be more locked in on not trying to show everybody how graceful his game is and get to the nuts and bolts, the meat and potatoes, get to the rim, get to the free throw line, and abuse defenders with his mid-range and his ability to get to the rim. I mean, to me, last Monday night was just too much settling for threes, too much settling for Jason. And maybe there was something where physically he didn't want to go up and didn't want to face the contact, or maybe he was, maybe he was banged up a little bit, or maybe something was wrong. We don't know what all is going on with these guys. But Jason's got to be the best player on the floor. If it's Brunson in all these games, the Celtics are going to struggle in this series. And last night, the best player on the floor is probably Anunoby. And secondly was Brunson. And third, I don't know. Was it Jason?
Maybe Drew Holiday, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe Drew Holiday. But it wasn't Jalen and it wasn't Jason. So if you're the Celtics, you need Jason to go, okay, I had a bad day, I had a bad game. It's time for me to get fired up, whatever motivation I need, and get in there and get us this game. I am not letting us lose tonight. There's hell no, I'm not letting us lose. And that's what I need to see from Tatum. Like, Jalen's a little banged up. Maybe he's not the dude to put the team on his back. Kristaps coming off an illness. Al Horford 38. Drew Holiday's coming off a hamstring. Derek White's a great compliment, but not that number one guy. It's on you, Jason, to take this team, put the damn team on your back, and going, we ain't losing tonight. If I gotta go for 30, 20, and 20, that's what I'm gonna do. You look at Jokic, what he did last night for Denver, and they won on the last second shot. But Jokic had 42 and 22 in game one against Oklahoma City. That's what you do. Yeah. I need to see Jason putting up top 2, 3 numbers, not top 10 numbers. Not, well, Jason, you didn't have a bad game. No, you didn't have a good game. You didn't have a good game, Jason. You should not be feeling good. Well, I did my part. Nope. Y'all lost, and you were terrible. You were 7 for 23. Terrible. You missed 16 shots and 11 threes and 2 free throws, right? And also a little 5 turnovers didn't help the situation either. You were a -5, the worst of any of the starters.
Yep.
Jalen, everybody was a 0 or a plus except you, Jason. So Jason needs to say, okay, I know I messed up. 23 points on 23 shots, and then 16 rebounds, very solid, 6 assists, but I wasn't half the player I need to be in game 2, and I'm going to put the team on our back, and I'm going to win this game. That's what I need to see from Jason Tatum. Jalen, I think he's hanging in there. Too many threes. He took 10 of his half his shots were threes. We don't need to see that. Not for 32% three-point shooter. We need to see attacking Jalen, and that's what he needs to be.
Well, full circle, we also talked about the Knicks X factors, OG Anunoby, Miles McBride coming off the bench and giving them a boost as well. What do the Celtics need to do to contain those X factors in Game 2?
You got Gary.
Well, Miles McBride, Deuce had a terrible series against Detroit. So the fact that he came off the bench and scored 11 points and hit 3 threes is a big boost for them. The rest of their bench didn't do nothing. Like Mitchell Robinson had 3 points on 3 free throws, 7 rebounds. It was a plus 13 because he could play defense and he was in the game during that big Knicks run. But the compliments, you got to do something with Anunoby. Anunoby's shooting the ball well. He's 38% three-point shooter, okay? He hit 6 threes, and many of them were open. A couple of them were tough, but a lot of them were open. You got to do something with him. He had a terrible 4 games against the Celtics. I think he missed 1. 3 games against the Celtics, he averaged 9 points. He had 29 last night. He's the best player on the damn floor. Brunson, I thought they did okay. 9 for 23. He only got to the free throw line 7 times. Brunson didn't kill you until he had to. Brunson was like, "Oh, you gonna let us in? Okay,
right. Let's do it then."
I've been chilling the whole game. Shoot, I ain't been myself, but okay.
Thank you for the confidence.
I could be myself for about 5 minutes, and that's exactly what happened. He hit them pair of threes, and he could carry this damn team. Cat was okay, but the thing is, Bridges was 3 for 13, but he hit that big corner 3 because Jalen left him alone. It was wide open. I think they've had some defensive lapses, but Anunoby's a guy you can't have him have 29. If he goes with 29 and Brunson goes with 29, and then Cat's gonna have a better game, you're gonna be in trouble. If you hold Anunoby to 14, 15. That's cool. He gonna hit it. He a grown ass man. He a good player, but 6 threes, too many open looks for him, and he was. And honestly, they happened in that big rally. Those 2 threes changed the game when it was 75-55. If the Celtics just hold on a little bit, go tit for tat, hoop for hoop, and keep it a 20-point lead going to the 4th. But when he hit those pair of threes, I was like, and now it's 14 points. You sort of knew this could be not nice. And it was about 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. And that's when he hit that second 3 and was 14. So you had the Knicks had 19 minutes to make up 14 points, plenty of time. But the Celtics slipped up. But Anunoby's a guy you got to control.
Yeah, he's good. He's been really good, and that's. Again, as we pointed out earlier, he is a wild card. He's an X factor. But if you're the Celtics, again, none of that should matter. You're the better team. You're the superior team, and you need to start playing like it. And dealing with him and dealing with his teammates is part of that process. I still feel good about the Celtics in this series. I just, this feels like one of them games where, and Gary, I know you can relate to this. Kwani, not so much. But it's when you do something wrong, and Mama ain't mad at you. She's disappointed.
Oh yeah,
That's how I feel.
In there.
That's how I feel.
I feel like that's a universal experience.
I was trying to give you some grace, Kwani. I was trying to give you some grace.
No,
I really. But that's what this feels like. It feels like, yo, Celtics, I'm not mad that y'all lost the game, but I'm disappointed in you because you're better than this. And that to me, I think is really what's going to drive them going forward. That they're going to feel, I think, this greater sense of urgency to show that they're better than what we saw. And not just in terms of three-point shooting, but in terms of basketball IQ, being smart about what you have to do to win. I look at it, for example, I look at a team like the Denver Nuggets out west. I don't think they're the most talented team out west, but from a basketball IQ standpoint, from top to bottom, they're probably at the top of the food chain. When you think about some of the things that they've done to be in the position they're in. I mean, you look at the game winner that they hit. Aaron Gordon gets a lot of praise and props for the shot, but give my man Russell Westbrook some dap for passing up the rock. Because let's be real, Gary.
We all thought Russell was going to take that last shot. We were like, oh, Russell in Oklahoma City, Russell about to go. I'm winning this damn. Where do I sign? Hold my beer.
Right. Russell passed up a good play, which would have been for him to take the shot, for a great one. And to me, it's little things like that the really high basketball IQ teams, the teams that have the ability to withstand some of the mistakes that they're going to make in a game and still find a way to win. That's what they do. And the Celtics have that capacity. We've seen them time and time again, exhibit that. But they just did what they did. They did not do it in game one. We'll see if they can figure it out and get back to being who they are in game two.
That's real. Gary, any final words?
What? The biggest game that, most precious game the Celtics have played since probably game 4 against Miami in Miami when they were down 0-3 and they could have, and Missoula was probably on the hot seat, and they won that game, and they won 3 in a row before losing game 7. So we'll see how they do under pressure. They haven't trailed in the series since then. They haven't trailed in the series since they was 3-2 Miami. And then they lost that series, but they were able to manage to come back and tie the series. So we'll see what they do under the pressure. I'm fascinated to see what they do when all the pressure's on, and how the Knicks come out. Do the Knicks come out loose?
Yeah.
And, hey, we got this. We at least the worst we could do is go home 1-1. Or do they come out like, oh, we can get another one here? And right. I think they're veteran and savvy enough to probably think we can get another one here.
All right, before we go, for those of you listening to the show, we ask that you subscribe to the podcast, like, and leave a review. And for those that are watching the show on CLNS, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the CLNS Media and Celtics All Access YouTube channel, where you can find our show and all of the other great Celtics content that's on that channel. Also, please be sure to turn on your notifications so you'll know the instant a new video drops. Example, when we drop a new podcast episode. For Gary Washburn and Sherrod Blakely, I'm Kwani Lunis, and this is the Big 3 NBA Podcast.
Well done, Kwani.
Thank you.
Gary, as always, I'm disappointed in you. My man.
No reason.
I know.
Why are you still rolling?